Vitum where I have marked.
Deinde, cum extractum vespertilionis sanguini nixtum est, sanguis puniceo colore amisso lacteus fit.
Gentlemen, we are dealing with the undead.
Nas, Arauto.
Yes, Nosferatu, the undead, the vampire.
Abraham Van Helsing is one of the characters in Stoker's novel Dracula, and the first significant thing about that is that that's Bram Stoker's first name, because Bram is a short form of Abraham.
You're looking exceptionally...
Pardon me, Dr. Seward, but I think Miss Mina should go to her room at once.
Professor Van Helsing, I don't believe it's as important as you seem to think it is.
Excuse me, Count Dracula, Professor Van Helsing.
I think Stoker had a soft spot in his heart for Van Helsing. The very fact that here's an author, creates a character, gives that character his own first name, I think that's significant. He obviously thinks of that character as the central character or the most heroic character in the novel.
Your will is strong, Van Helsing.
Indeed.
Van Helsing is one of those classic movie archetypes. He's not always a nice guy. Ultimately, he's pretty much a good guy. But he doesn't always go about it by the book.
What was in there? A gentleman with a stake driven right through his heart. Oh, do you know anything about this?
Yes, I did it.
Who is he in there?
His name was Count Dracula.
How long has he been dead?
About 500 years.
He was the original vampire hunter. And so I thought, oh, that's a good way to start. He'll be my hero. The eye would be really great. Ready, and action!
You'll be hard to digest.
I'd hate to be such a nuisance.
My attitude was sort of like, okay, I love the idea of this character. How do I make him my own?
Here I come, ready or not!
I thought, well, what if I caught him at the beginning of his career, if you will? Made him younger, hipper, different. A hero who takes on the classic big monsters.
Now that I have your attention.
If you saw him a block away in silhouette, you'd know it's Van Helsing. He has a black hat and a black cape and a black coat, and he has a duster, like one of those old Western dusters, but it's black.
Van Helsing! You mother!
Van Helsing, in a sense, is an outsider, and although he might not be a monster in the sense that Frankenstein is, he's still viewed as something not normal, you know, something out of the ordinary.
No! You heard what he said!
My life, my job is to vanquish evil. I can sense evil.
I think it's a little bit of an ode to James Bond, you know.
Rings of garlic, holy water.
Every movie I have to come up with new and interesting props and weapons and stuff like that. It's part of the whole deal. But with this, I just thought, well, there's only certain ways you can kill a werewolf and certain ways you can kill a vampire, and thought, but now I have to take it to the next level.
My latest invention.
Ah, now this I like.
Yes, it's gas-propelled and capable of catapulting bolts in rapid succession at tremendous velocity. Just pull the trigger and hold on.
Every time I finish a script, I give it to my producing partner, Bob, and he reads it, and he says, this is who we need as a lead, and it's usually right. He read it, and he said, this is Hugh Jackman.
The Cardinal has ordered you to keep me alive.
For as long as possible.
We came to one name, and really one name only, and that was Hugh Jackman.
Why is it so important to kill this Dracula anyway?
Because he's the son of the devil.
Oh, I mean, besides that.
Because if we kill him, anything bitten by him or created by him will also die.
He embodies everything that the character is about. He's dashing, he's strong, he is handsome, he's capable of kicking ass.
Back off, pal.
Girls want to be with him, guys want to be like him. He really is the only person that we ever thought about.
You all right? Now that we've made the movie, it's hard to differentiate between the way I wrote Van Helsing as a writer and the way I see it now with Hugh Jackman.
Werewolf!
You know, it's like, it's kind of all about Hugh now in a really good way. Whatever you put your hand, you take it away, just kind of spin towards it. This camera's eventually going to be here. I love the thought.
There's something very solid about Hugh. You immediately trust him and like him.
So if you want to save your family, you need to stay alive until Dracula is killed.
And who will kill them if not me? Who will show courage if not me?
If you go out there alone, you'll be outmanned in our position, and you can't see in the dark.
He's somebody that you totally believe would be enduringly around saving the day.
In the morning, we will hunt him. Together.
He's strong and he's fit and he has good humor and he doesn't give off a sense of arrogance or vanity, and yet he's extremely cute as well. So he's just got everything that you really want a traditional, kind of in the best sort of old-fashioned sense, leading man to have.
I'll find you! I'll get you back and set you free! I swear to God!
Hugh has a reputation as being one of the nicest people in show business. I came onto this movie in an attempt to find something about Hugh's character to debunk that theory. He is genuinely the most generous, happy, uplifting person to be around. He really is a genuinely lovely guy.
Got another one of these?
There's got to be something bad about him, and I intend to find it and to make it known throughout the world of show business. Hopefully.
You always this popular?
Pretty much.
Here we go.
Very good, everybody. That was nice, man.
I flew up to Vancouver and visited him on X-Men and talked to him and asked him what he's been doing, how he feels about the wire work, basic things. Try to find out where he excels and where his weak points may be. And in Hugh's particular instance, there isn't any.
Ray kind of caught on to the fact that I'm a bit of a thrill seeker. I love all that stuff. And as a viewer of these movies, I just love watching the actor do it. Not because I'm going, wow, look at that actor, because it keeps me going in the story. And he said, mate, I totally agree. He says, wherever you can do something, I'm going to get you to do it.
3, 2, 1, go!
The great thing about doing X-Men first is that physically I was in good shape and I didn't have to do like 8 years of training to get into it, so I was ready. Although I have to say Van Helsing was probably 50% tougher than X-Men was, physically. I kept thinking, you know what, if I fell off, I'm dead. Yep, I'm dead. Anyway, so I'm going along. I did 3 takes, and Troy, the second unit stunt guy, came up to me and he goes, man, I gotta tell you, in my entire career, I don't think I've ever seen an actor do a stunt like this. And I said, what do you mean? Why not?
Is that your sword or mine, darling?
This is the first time I've done a movie where ostensibly I've got the lead role, or name above title, as agents would call it. And that was something that I'd been offered before, but my agent had been wary of me taking and wanted to wait for the right project. So when this one came along, both of us sort of had a conference call, and we're just like, this is the one, this is it, let's go. I felt like it was a good part for me. It was different enough from what I'd done before, and yet I could tell it was sort of in my strengths.
Action!
It's that kind of swashbuckling film and that kind of character where this is not a spoof, this is not all tongue-in-cheek, it's very real, but there's a lightness of touch to it, there's a little wink in the eye, there's a kind of panache to it that those old 40s movies used to have. I think that's why it's got such a unique look and yet somehow feels slightly familiar.
And cut. Ladies and gentlemen, as far as Van Helsing's concerned, Kate Beckinsale and Hugh Jackman are finished on this movie. Can I get a proper hug?
There's a lot of pressure in making movies of this size, but 90% of it comes from me. As a filmmaker, I like making these movies because there's just so much to play with visually. And we've done things that they couldn't do back then.
There's still some of the same techniques we share. I mean, we still use matte paintings, we still do elaborate miniatures. We can do more with the miniatures because we have more sophisticated pyrotechnics and rigs and hydraulic systems. But on top of that, we have the best of the modern new computer technologies that allow us to give these creatures and these characters a freedom that they really never had back in the classic horror days.
The wonderful thing about the digital world that we're all in now is that there are no limitations on one's imagination. The only limitations are your pocketbook.
There's a complexity involved there that requires keeping a lot of balls in the air. So if you're doing that, you want to go into those sequences prepared.
We had quite a few things that were very challenging. Just about everything Van Helsing was challenging. I don't think ILM did any simple shots on this particular project.
It's been a pleasure knowing you. Au revoir!
For example, Mr. Hyde's sequence, in putting that together, we had an animatic to refer to start help us plan that.
We animated the action first. We didn't really know what the shots were going to be, and we kind of designed and animated the action, and then went in and covered the scene as if, you know, you had two real actors and you were finding the good angles.
We did a lot of different concept explorations. What we came up with was someone who is a really just a grotesque-looking human being who we basically sort of felt like he was one of those British backstreet thugs that's been down drinking all night at the pub and come and bash the crap out of you, you know.
And that's it! 4 children, 3 goats, whoosh, and a rather large massacre of poultry.
When we saw the way Schuller performed as Frankenstein, we thought, wow, this guy really, even with all this stuff on him, moves really in an agile way, and Schuller was really happy to do it. And we made a helmet with a picture of Mr. Hyde on the top so we could work out our compositions. It takes a real leap of faith on the part of the director and the editors and the producer, because when they get all the material back, the first reaction is, how is this going to work? Schuller came up to ILM and we strapped him in a motion capture suit and had him go through the same performance. And having done that rough animation, it gave a really good guide so that he could have a look at what we really roughly wanted Hyde to do. We'd set up the motion capture so we got real-time feedback, so Schuller and Stephen could see him as Mr. Hyde on the monitor in the scene, composited real-time, and it made it very easy.
You're the great Van Helsing.
We decided to treat this not as a computer graphic character, but as an actor, and then asked Robbie Coltrane to lend his voice for the character.
I think you'll find the view over here rather spectacular.
The facial animation was based on Robbie Coltrane's visual portrayal of the character when he was acting. The combination created a really unique character that comes out really strong on screen.
My turn!
I think he'll be probably the highest achievement that's ever been seen in terms of a photoreal, completely synthetic character.
Kill the stranger. Love to.
One of the main things that Stephen wanted was to see these flame brides fly up to camera and see the actresses truly performing.
Do you like to fly?
We used 2 different techniques to build the same character. Their body was digital, their face was shot on film. We wanted to shoot the face and hair of the performer, but at the exact same time track how their body moved. That meant we needed to use the motion capture on the film set with the huge amounts of lights that would be there also. So we had to come up with techniques that would make all of the little markers on the performer much brighter than they otherwise would be. So we developed these custom circuit boards that have a real high-powered light source on them. It's an LED light-emitting diode. Human can't see the light. You can stare at it and you wouldn't even know if it's on or not. But as soon as you look through one of our motion capture cameras, which can see infrared light, then you notice how bright it is. The first thing were the markers, and we could hide all of the custom wires that went to each one of those. So the suit would not have wires running all over that the brides would get tangled up in. We had 24 motion capture cameras because we knew people and things would always get in the way. We knew at times our motion capture cameras would be looking directly at a film light, and even though we'd sort of knocked out a lot of the light, we'd still have some in there that would cause problems. So here's the whole process. We shot background plates in Prague. We had to track how the film camera moves through space. The next step was, how does the bride move? So we create these animatics with a digital version of the bride flying through that shot. And this gives us an idea of how she moves relative to the film camera. We convert them to something that would be useful for the hybrid shoot itself. So the cameramen knew how to move the camera, so the stunt people knew how to move the brides, so the brides knew exactly what to do, and we'd have a performance that actually fit with the shot that was shot months earlier. We took those two things and inserted them into the original background plate. And once we stick it on the 3D bride, we'll get something that looks like this vinyl here.
We typically measured time by shots. We'd assign the shots, and animation, might take anywhere from a week to a month for a given shot. And once the animators started, then we tried to start the technical director soon after so he could start roughing in his lighting while the animator was still working. And then we'd overlap that with the compositor starting to work. And each artist typically had 2 or 3 shots that they were working at one time. But generally, a shot could take easily a month to 2 months, in some cases a few months, to accomplish, just because of all the little pieces to be dealt with.
Is such an exciting sequence. It's just wrought with peril from one end to the other, and this is just such a beautiful way to end it.
Creatures were pretty much the top end of what we can do with creature technology today. We had all these hair simulations, flesh simulations. We had subsurface scattering to give a sort of more organic look to the hell beast creature. We had to transform Hugh Jackman into a big, scary werewolf, but also Stephen Summers wanted the werewolf to be sexy looking. And both of them to be like rock stars, they have these manes of elaborate hair and so on. So it was a big challenge because it really required the best of what we can do in terms of creating computer graphics creatures. And because these creatures can leap around the place and fly, we had to fabricate the rest of the set. But we also then had to transform our hero and our villain back and forward into characters. And so I think overall that presented a lot of challenges, and I think the results is a full-on two-fisted battle between two monsters that any horror fan would love to work on something like that. Finally, when Hugh transforms from the werewolf back to Van Helsing at the end of the film, and Anna is dead now, and he's cradling her in her arms, and this was something that Stephen always wanted, a really iconic image of the werewolf holding his love and howling at the moon, and then seamlessly go to Van Helsing. Basically, a lot of his fur and some of his skin just sort of wafts off him. And so it's a little different from the other transformations, but it fulfilled this need to be not horrific.
I think that there are people that will see this movie that think the visual effects are phenomenal, like the most unbelievable visual effects they've ever seen. I'm one of those people.
I can see everyday life all the time. For some reason, my sensibilities, especially as a writer, I guess. As a writer, I love to create stuff that you haven't seen before.
See, Mark.
Picture up! Ready and action!
Oh my god. The Frankenstein monster!
Come and get it, Frank! See if we can get more people up here. Oh, you son of a...
Sorry, mate.
Yo, don't mess up the makeup now.
What are you looking at?
Together.
You, win. You don't want this.
All right.
Sorry. Oh, flies. There's flies.
I give you Van Halen!
May others be as passionate in their hunting of you.
Broke. It's a low-budget movie. I'm sorry.
Beat me.
Action!
Where are we going?
Through that window! Oh!
You win. Very good.
Now! Jeez, you brought the hell out of me. I wasn't ready for that.
Any part of me like to catch fire just to this point, including coattails or hair? No, good.
It won't happen again.
Why did they attack in daylight?
Clearly they wanted to catch me. It won't happen again. Oh,
right. Friggin' line. Right. What's the line?
I'm a cold-hearted bitch.
Somebody give me a script, because I'm sure those aren't the line. Hey, Daddy, I'm home.
I know what lies in your luster heart.
Your father didn't have this or that.
You got another one of these? He didn't have this cheap souvenir.
Is that your sword or mine, darling? Oh, sorry.
See, look at. Oh, are you in trouble? Someday when I do a big budget movie, we won't have problems like this.
My life, my job, is to vanquish evil. I can sense evil. This...
What?
It's just get out of there. The look, but even the more, okay, the more pain just goes. Oh, see that? That was acting. It was me acting. That's why I stay back here.
It's flesh wound. Flesh wound. Hey, I know you.
And neither you nor I will be able to stop my phone.
Okay, I'll be in here. I've got cable.
Got a cigarette. We're rolling!
There are those who can go through the front door. There are those who speak their minds a little bit better than us.
All right, then,
Don't trip. Yeah, I would never trip. Oh.
I'm okay! I'm okay! I'm all right! Here she comes! Let's go! gotta be kidding me.
We're out of film, so I think we should probably cut.
Hey, you guys can't leave me here. Hey, where you going? Come down there.